It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight.
It's a it's a pleasure to be with you too.
All right. So, it's been an interesting year with COVID-19, the elections, and just daily challenges. I'd love to talk with you about some coping skills as we move towards the holidays. Just need to kind of, get your thoughts on that. I know that, we've seen people thrown together during COVID. People weren't used to spending so much time together. And we've heard some of the challenges and even reports that, police, came into homes more often than they normally do. So I just wanted to set the tone for what can we look at, what kind of coping skills can we provide for those that are looking for solutions and some of the challenges we see as we approach the holidays.
Okay, we can start with the willingness to think out of the box, to look at new and different ways of making things happen for ourselves. We can start along with that with accepting who we are, what used to work for us and what didn't work for us, what used to work before that we can't do now because of COVID, and what alternative systems can we create to 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 simply survive and thrive in a time of change. These are definitely changing times. The plans I had in January and February for the year, by March, they were through the window.
Tell me about it. My whole life went upside down. As a matter of fact, I stayed off social media because I had so many things to do. And just being on there and watching the stress that people were experiencing from the changes, people dying, family members, it was quite a bit. And so people kept texting me, "Where are you?" But I had to focus on the things I needed to get done without getting caught up. And so as the holiday comes up, tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, let me segue first. There are people whose lifestyles, work habits, and everything were not significantly upended with the coming of COVID. So they have not felt, whether because of the state that they lived in, the community they lived in, or the kind of work that they did. Okay, and for some of them, it's just not beginning to seep into their community and affect their lives. For some, okay, and for those individuals who are on top of their game and don't have the high stress and problems, we would ask you to be compassionate with those who are going through a difficult time and reach out. A phone call can make a big difference. We can't visit as we used to, but like what we're doing now, doing it virtual. Um, you know, maybe if the different times we would be having a seminar with a ton of people in
Right.
a room discussing this, but these times call for different measures. So for those who are not seriously affected, be empathetic and help those who are going through the throes of the struggle. And the other piece of that is people who are stressed out because of what is happening will not be as kind to you as they normally would be. So expect some miserable people in your life.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was waiting for you to kind of to kind of see if you would hit that as well. And just for some context here, why am I talking to you about stress management? And just for our audience here, you and I have had a history over the last 8 years of just sitting down and talking about stress management. And as a matter of fact, I want to say that we're working on a stress management program at this time, and
Yeah.
we've spent some time during COVID as well, and had a few conversations with other counterparts of ours that are also interested in this topic. And so this topic kind of drives us. It's our passion. And
Yes.
so I love talking stress management and anxiety and depression, mental health in general with you.
Yes.
And so I just want to let everybody know that's where this comes from. And you've had such an experience as president of the hospital you're now teaching also health courses. So you're still in that zone.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you touched at that, getting back to that, because I have seen people in my work environment that I've had to coach And without them knowing I'm coaching, I'm just seeing some behaviors, and some of it had to do with relationships. I had this one individual where the husband traveled and now he couldn't travel anymore. They were stuck at home, and it got so bad that they started filing for divorce. And so we're seeing some of these different behaviors, and tons and tons of things happening to people this year. And tell me what other behaviors have you seen and experienced during this time?
Oh, there's loneliness. There are people that in normal life you would call them and you'd have a short conversation because they're busy with their lives, and now you call them, they can't get off the phone because it's so good to talk to somebody, for them, but I want to also mention that some of the same principles that we used before all of this are still applicable in helping us cope with stress today. And I want to mention a few of them. One of them is taking some alone time for spiritual nurture, whether it is to pray, to read, to meditate, to give thanks, being thankful amid all the misery and mayhem that's going on in the world around us. Learning to be thankful, to see what the Almighty has done for us, gives us courage and lifts us above the darkness that is in the world around us. Okay, but not all the time we can pull away and go by ourselves, because if you have children, if you have responsibilities, you're working and taking care of kids at home at the same time and all that's going down. Practice deep breathing. There are a couple of things associated with deep breathing. One of them is that there's some bacteria in your nose, in your nasal cavity, that produce some chemicals that when you deep breathe and they get into the lungs, it stimulates the production of endorphins and other helpful, relaxing chemistry in your body and your brain. So deep breathing, you take it in, you hold it there for a while, you let it out slowly. Is really a relaxing thing. Tense your muscles and relax them. Don't sit in one place all the time, and that helps. You may not be able to go to the gym, but you can walk around the house. You can maybe even walk around the block or find a park nearby where you can go for a walk. It's a different routine from what you're used to if you're used to going to the gym, but it gets you active. It gets you out there. Wonderful if you have. In the north it's fall now, so you won't have so much greenery, but if you're at a place where there's a forest, go forest bathing, walking in the forest. That does wonders for you. So there are a number of things we can do. The worst thing to do is to behave as though everything is all right, I can manage this, and be in denial about the world falling apart around you.
Right. And can I add, I know I added some stress to you today, right? Because we have no script for this today. I just grabbed you and said, look, I need to test the system that we're going to go live with. And I said, let's talk about coping skills. So I just want our audience to know that this isn't planned. We don't have a full script. We're testing to see, are the settings that we have okay? Because I've really developed this in an agile mode. And so we both had a significant amount of stress this afternoon and in the last half an hour trying to figure out, okay, what do we call this? What do we call this live? What are we going to talk about? And so I know I threw that at you. I'm so grateful for you taking that deep breath in and saying, okay, we can do this.
Yes. There's something else that we must take into account when we think of stress management, and that is that excess stress usually generates some bad chemistry that affects the muscles, and the muscles that usually get affected are for most people is right up in this area. I learned this from an expert a few months ago, that if you extend your hand up, put it over your head, and pull the scapula into your back. Those shoulder blades, we call them, or scapula, pull them into your back as tightly as you can. It shortens the muscles and helps to relax them.
Wow, I feel that stretch. Oh,
Ah,
ow.
okay. So you do that
I
a few times. You do that a few times a day. You minimize the amount of tightness you have in this area and the pain. We call it Charlie horse, I think, when it extends all the way up into your head here, and you get a crick neck or a stiffness in your neck that is just so painful and awful. So to manage those components is really helpful
Especially
in
for me,
coping.
that sits all day. That felt really, I could feel the
Yes.
stretch and I could feel the tension. So that was good. Thank you for that. I'll
Okay.
definitely practice that one.
Okay. There's another one I want to share with you, and that is there is a tie between your hand and your brain through the sympathetic nervous system. When you're stressed, the capillaries in your brain contract. So does the ones in your hand. And if you can get the circulation going in your brain, that stressful feeling, and sometimes people get headache, even triggers, it can even trigger migraine
Ah,
from all that stress. Um, right here,
okay.
this muscle in here, if you squeeze it, if it hurts, it means that you are stressed. Okay. If you
Yeah.
massage it, that along with the rest of the hand, okay, you massage your hand, you get the circulation going in there. After a while, a minute or so, you will find that you feel your brain just feel, wow. It may not drive away the headache if you have one immediately, but it takes the edge off it. You feel more in control. You feel like you're getting to a better place.
All right.
For,
You
for,
give
for,
me
for,
so you give me two
for
tools already, right?
okay, the cousin to that one is if you don't have the strength to do the massaging, you can get a bowl of warm water, as hot as you can take it, and rest your hands in it, and that will improve the circulation in your hands, and that will also help with the brain.
Can I add one in there, or can we talk about one which is water therapy?
Yeah.
You know, we have this thing, hydrotherapy, that we do, and I practice it every day. But if
Yes.
I'm highly stressed, I do it in 3 cycles. And that is 3 minutes hot water, as hot as you can take it, and then 30 seconds cold water, as cold as you can take it. And that helps to relieve stress. It actually helps to rebuild your cells. And I practice it 1 cycle every day. But again, if I'm really stressed and I go through the 3 cycles, very simple things we can do. And I just wanted to add that one in there.
And the bonus to that is in the era of COVID-19, it boosts your immune system,
Absolutely.
and it's a bonus. It's a bonus for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Let's see off the hand what else we can come up with, because
Okay,
like you said,
so you mentioned earlier that we are looking at the holidays
yeah,
and what happened, how we cope during the holidays. It's proven. It's now a known factor that people with emotional issues who are stressed out or have difficulty coping with emotional pain have a more difficult time during the holidays. And I can tell you a quick story about that. I worked at a hospital in California that had an adolescent psych unit. And I was assistant to the president at the time. I was fresh out of university. And my job was to do the statistics for the hospital and report to management all the trends and stuff. And I saw this trend that in the spring to the fall, the med-surg units were full and the psych unit was low in occupancy. In December, in the winter, the med-surg units were down and the psych unit was full. Matter of fact, it was full so much so that many times they had to turn away patients. So I met with the director one day and I said, explain this thing to me. I don't understand this phenomena. Why is it come December you are always full? And she said to me, people with emotional problems have a much harder time coping during the holidays, because the holidays, Thanksgiving through to Christmas, is a time of the year when everybody else is happy and it's a joyful time. There's nice music, there's a lot of food, and giving of gifts, and it's supposed to be this wonderful, happy time of year. But they're not happy, and they're seeing this contrast between themselves and what is projected to them in the rest of the world, and it drives them deeper. If it is depression or anxiety or whatever it is, it drives them deeper than they were before.
Can I ask, or may I suggest that part of this could possibly be for expectations, the expectations of that joyfulness in the holidays, that
Yes.
maybe if they're alone or they've had a divorce and all these other factors. And now this year we come and pile on top of that COVID.
Yes.
So what does that mean? And for those folks that are in the colder parts of the world, they, I would say, may also suffer from winter blues because of the
Yes.
lack of the vitamin D. And that
Yes.
also compounds it. So during the holidays, the Christmas and Thanksgiving, we see these things. So with COVID piled on top of that, what say you?
Yeah, so it's important to have some vitamin D supplementation in this period. It's just some nice omega 3s also, some fish oil or whatever way form you get your omegas in. But vitamin D for sure. Make sure you have supplementation of that. But also face the reality that if last year Christmas was rough for you emotionally, this year holds a potential, unless you are proactive and find a way, begin to plan now a way in which you are going to be creative in making it a good experience for you. And one of the ways that you can make it a good experience for yourself is to not be selfish.
Okay.
People who participate in serving others and blessing others with their lives. Find somebody that you can make a difference for. I'm not talking about codependency. I'm not talking about, being the kind of person that is just needy all the time and finding needy people to to compensate for that. No, in a healthy way, look for people who can't give you back, who will never be able to return to you the blessing you share with them, and bless them with your life, whether it is sending some money, whether it is a phone call, and sometimes a phone call is worth more than the money.
Yes.
I said to somebody close to me some years ago when we were struggling with this idea of how we serve people, and I said, it is easier to write a check or to get a bill and give to someone than to sit down and spend 10, 15, 20 minutes, a half an hour, an hour with somebody, just listening to them and fellowshipping with them, especially if they don't smell too good. Or
Right. Right, because
or
if
they
you're
have some.
giving of yourself, you're
Yes.
extending your whole emotional,
Yes.
you're lending that, and that is powerful because the person can feel it and
Yes.
empathize with it, kind of non-judgmental type of a relationship that you can offer to people. And,
Yes.
and I'm sure, as you know, a lot of us spend you mentioned it before, we've spent more time on the phone talking to people, that's because we don't see each other. But I'm wondering if exercise, if would be a good way as well, if the weather permits, because you can do push-ups, you can, just expel all that pent-up energy, because people tend to get frustrated when they're locked in. I mean, I've had to get up from my desk sometimes and just walk if it's not raining, just to kind of get rid of that pent-up energy. And so we don't want to leave that out. And I know we're pretty much out of time today. We said we're just going to do this as a test mode, and we've had, I hope this test conversation, this whole test mode was valuable to someone. definitely, if there's something that you're out there hearing that we can do better or fix, let us know. This is just our first test of the system, and we really didn't have a script there, but we decided that we just talk, just chop it up for you today. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop us a message. Tell us what you think. If there are other topics in wellness you want us to talk about, Dr. Rutherford and I partner on different things, and I do have other partners in wellness that we can have conversations with. Drop us a message. Tell us, what we can talk about, what challenges you're having, or if you feel that you don't want to put yourself out there, send me a message. If you're on Facebook, drop it in Life with Jan. And if you are on YouTube or anywhere else that this is streaming, you can go to lifewithjan.com and just send me a message from there, and we will consider it. We're going to be planning and lay out a whole roadmap of content that we can talk about. We're going to script it next time so that we're more coherent. And I hope you enjoyed this, or it was, you found value in it. And until then, thank you again, Dr. Rutherford, for chatting with me and for allowing me to pull you into this quick setting. And we'll talk shortly. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
God bless.